Welcome back to the show. It's still the Buzz Lifestyle Edition. All right, let's begin the show quickly, by mentioning the xenophobia spate we've had. It's been very eventful in Nigeria, in South Africa, and other African countries, this week. Not only Nigerians are perturbed by what's been going on. This morning we woke up to news that even Zimbabweans, Tanzanians, Kenyans, and every other affected African countries have also started in their own little way, to retaliate the attacks. Of course, we know what went down in Lagos and some other parts of Nigeria in the past 2 days, where people have been looting, in the name of protesting, major should I say, business concerns, of South Africans in Nigeria, which I don't think is right, by the way, but that is how Nigerians have chosen to express their own anger. Also, Zambia yesterday had to cancel the friendly football match between their country and South Africa, and majorly all African leaders, Nigeria inclusive, today have pulled out of the World Economic Forum and all of that. Nothing is going on. Celebrities, Nigerian celebrities who have shows in South Africa later on this month have started canceling everything. Basically, like there's a shutdown. I don't know. Also, some African countries have shut their borders against South Africa, just, to just show that all of this is not right. But also, the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Comrade Daniel Akman, yesterday turned down the offer following the renewed attacks on Nigerians and their businesses in South Africa. That's an offer on the proposed exchange program between Nigerian students and their South African counterparts, which is a usual thing. But this year is looking like it's a no-no. Meanwhile, two factions of NANS almost came, to fisticuffs at the premises of the South African High Commission in Abuja over offers of a free trip to South Africa. I mean, this is taking so much dimension. That's a clip of Nigerian students actually fighting. Some want to go, some do not want to go, and all of that. But let me just quickly, in 10 seconds, hear everyone's views, on what we've witnessed so far this week.
Okay, quickly, for me, the honest truth is I think that this matter is taken for levity to some extent, particularly by the leadership of Nigeria and South African leadership. For me, it didn't have to degenerate to this level before something could have been done.
Okay.
This matter came up some few years ago, it died down. For me, I thought that was the end of it. But for this to come up in this dimension and it's even becoming more bigger and it's spreading really fast to neighboring countries taking out, because in South Africa as of today, about 800,000 Nigerians live there. And some other foreigners from other countries too live there. For me, our government and South African government needs to come together and, look for ways to stop. What is the problem particularly? They say Nigerians are taking their businesses, taking their wives. For me, these are really trivial issues that shouldn't have even degenerated to this level.
Where we have it. Okay, Pastor Dolly, let's hear your take.
Well, I want to say that when we even talk about the word xenophobia itself, it means the fear of foreigners.
Or something
the fear of foreigners. Yeah. So, and I think it's a general trend in the world today. Because Brexit is the fear of foreigners. America is building walls, is the fear of foreigners. So now the way Africans are reacting to the fear of foreigners, it's what is just, it's something that one cannot really comprehend. Why do we have to degenerate to this extent of going to the street to kill people? People are using, Britain is using diplomacy. America is using,
we don't want to live together.
They are using diplomacy.
You don't kill people.
You have your immigration laws. If these people are breaching your immigration laws, deport them to their countries. So going out of the street to fight them is very much unacceptable. It is barbaric and should be condemned by all well-meaning human beings. Because people you are killing in the street are human beings.
Thank you. Charles?
Yeah, talking about the Brexit, it's not exactly an issue of foreigners should not live in our country. That's a different thing. Like they want to sever some diplomatic ties that bind these different countries together. But looking at the situation in South Africa, I just shake my head in grief, and it does go a long way to reinforce the need for people to be aware about history.
Okay.
The people who are doing this killing they are not aware that the parents of the people they are killing actually help their parents, right, to have what they have today. And there's no rule on earth that states a foreigner can't live in a particular place. As a matter of fact, where you are at every given time, that is your locality, that's where you're from. And you can't actually be uprooted just like that. You know, people are saying, let them come back home. It's one of the most difficult things to just uproot your life and then move. Some of these people had children there, their children are in school there, that's all the life is known. So it's really sad that, you know, things would get to this level.
Exactly.
Really. Sorry, let me quickly, especially when you have them saying they are taking over our women. It means they've married their women, they have children for them. Are we going to pull them out of South Africa overnight with their wives and children? No.
You know, this situation is it's not to be heard in Africa because we are one. I was happy listening to the president talking that Nigerians, you were just there for us, for this freedom. We should look at things in a different perspective instead of killing ourselves. Those, even the properties being burnt down, they are owned by Nigerians. All this we need to take into consideration before just waking up one day and start, you want to retaliate. We can't bring all Nigerians back home, even if you, where will you put them? So let's find a way to settle this amicably, and other nations will join us.
Thank you so much for your contributions. Meanwhile, South African police have arrested 189 people following several days of xenophobic violence in Pretoria and Johannesburg, as well as in other cities. And we're still waiting for the statistics coming from the Nigerian government as to how many Nigerians have been killed and how many people have been arrested, you know, on home grounds. Let's move it along. There is nothing wrong with impregnating your maid, so says controversial Ghanaian counselor. You know, I never know how to pronounce his name, whether it's Lutheroth or Lutherdot, whatever. but his full name is Cyril George Constantin Luderot, I'm going with Luderot, has once again stirred the pool of controversy by saying there's nothing wrong with men impregnating their maids while they are still married. The controversial relationship counselor backed his assertion by stating some women are infertile or barren. According to him, men shouldn't be criticized when they take the bold step of impregnating their wives, because impregnating their maids rather, because their wives cannot have children. He also pointed out that some women have bad characters and end up not playing their roles as wives. The counselor stated that a man falling in love with his maid because he wants a peaceful home is a walk in the right direction. Every man wants peace. So if your wife is not giving you peace and your maid is giving you peace, there is nothing wrong with you going for her. So says Counselor Luderot. End of quote. Where do I start? Let me start from a woman. Madam, please.
It's so funny because men should look at women as so important in their lives. Once you say, this is my wife, no matter what happens, you have to stand by that woman, whether children or no children. You are already lovers, you are already one. Whether you take the oath in the
character or not,
you are really sane when you were saying that. And so by the time there is a challenge, you just have to accept it and build around it to make your home peaceful. Housemaid is not the alternative. You can, your wife will have, there will be no respect for your wife. When the wife and the housemaid, they are the same, under the same roof.
Okay, let me skip Charles and come to Pastor Dolly intentionally. Pastor Dolly, there is a place in the Bible where Abraham was offered his maid by his wife, because the wife couldn't bear him children. So
because those days when you have a slave, both the slave and the children that are given birth to
by the slave
are yours.
Okay.
So it was on that premise that Sarah gave her maid to her husband. But let's look at what happened. After she gave her maid to her husband, the maid became pregnant and she started despising Sarah. Sarah became angry. And it got to a point, even after she had the baby, Sarah told Abraham, send her away. Abraham said, no, I will not. And God said, you must obey her because that is your wife. Your wife is the one you should obey and send her away.
All right.
And I want to say that the problem we are having in the world today, most of the problem we have in the world today, whether we like it or not, it is that singular mistake made by Abraham by accepting the wise maid, the wise slave, to become not the wife, to have a child for him. That is one of the major problems we're having in the world today.
Please, could you expatiate
No,
on that?
no,
I
no.
want her to expand.
No,
on
don't.
that. Why not?
Don't. Patience. There's a lot involved in what she's saying. Let's not go there. Patience.
I don't want to go there. I wouldn't even do that, honestly. But we know that the problem.
But I'm already on that road.
So
let's go there.
No, Patience. No, we will never recover.
My love for controversy.
I don't want to hear that. But what I'm saying in essence is that there are so many counselors in the world today. There are so many social media counselors today that add problem to problems for people. By the time people go to them for counsel, they are cancelled. Their life is cancelled. Their mind is cancelled. I think we must be very careful with the kind of people we take as counselor. For as much as I can see this one, he's not really counseling people. He's doing more damages to life.
Confusion.
Yes, confusion. Because if your wife cannot have a child, is it that you're taking somebody else, for that matter, should be your own response, should be your head that you're rendering to her to have a child? Not even now that science has so grown that a lot of things can be done for a woman to have children today. You can even adopt. You understand? And if you're not thinking of adopting, you're not thinking of doing any fertility treatment for your wife to have babies, it is to jump on. For me, I see that as an insult on even the aspect. The maid is an insult because she's not a property to you. She's not your wife property. She's not your wife property. You can't just jump on her. You understand? It's okay if my wife can't be. Let me jump on me.
All right. Let me hear it from the guys in the house now. Okay. Where do we start?
Okay. Well, for me, in the first place, we are the men. I like the fact that we started from the mothers who are ideally the custodian of these maids. But the honest truth is, first of all, I want to say that I don't even know where these ideas come from. For me, this counselor from Ghana, because if your wife, because this matter is very important, such that we need to look at what is surrounding this case. If your wife is not able to have a child, and you think that impregnating your maid is the next option, for me, it borders on the agreement between the man and the wife. Is the wife consenting to that? Now, sometimes when you're infertile, if you can't have a child, the options you have are limited. Surrogate mother, IVF, and all that. If you've tried every other option and at the end you feel having a surrogate mom is the only thing you can do, instead of going outside that marriage completely to have a surrogate mom.
How about marrying a second wife?
No.
Why are we shying away from the quickest options for most men? We're Africans.
Let's have this in mind that the maid also, of course, will not be an adolescent and it can't be a child. It's somebody who is matured to take decisions. If this is done with the consent of the maid and the wife, it might be a type of arrangement between them. But for me, if it is done without the consent of the wife, and the maid is forcefully impregnated, that's where I have an issue. I've seen cases of people who
if it's consensual.
If it's consensual, I don't think
you don't have a problem with that.
Who got married to their maids and the wife is in consent to it.
Okay, all right. Okay, Charles, let's hear your input.
Usually I like to have the full context of what was said, but let me just walk around what you have provided us. Now there are certain things you hear and your brain just melts, and you're wondering where is this human being coming from? He put it as though it's an issue of I don't like Coke, so I have Fanta as an option. And he made it so matter of fact that that man needs to be arrested and caged. He's a prime suspect for child sexual abuse. These are things, these are, you know, as a child psychologist, there are certain things you hear, and then it tells you the kind of mindset that a human being has. And in reality, the things we say are a full expression of what we really are and what we do in secret. Now, first of all, this is what I tell people. The reason for marriage is not to have children. That is something every human being must know. The reason why you're getting married is because you see someone, you fall in love with the person, and you know you're going, you have a future, you have life on earth.
In Nigeria,
and you decide everywhere on earth. This is the core reason for marriage.
But the reality is in Nigeria.
Patience, just give me a minute.
Go ahead.
The core reason why, now, if you want to marry someone, are you looking at the children that you will have or the person? You see, along the line we miss these things. Now, children come as an addition and as a blessing to marriage. But when you put the cart before the horse, you go backward.
Yeah. Okay.
First of all, he's actually insane. That man needs a head examination. And you see, issues like, I read something on the pastor's page a few days ago, and I went hard on the pastor, talking about marriage, women, and character. We're going about this thing as if character is the sole preserve of women to have. And you're talking about stuff like if the woman doesn't make you happy, if the man does not have peace in his home, are you giving peace in your home?
Thank you for broaching that issue, because it's
There
not
you
only
go.
about children.
There you go.
If your wife is not giving you peace,
Who are you? The truth is, women multiply what men bring.
Okay.
A man who's unhappy in his home has sown the seeds of unhappiness.
Thank you for
and
saying
trust
that.
me,
Thank
your
you for
wife
putting it
will
there.
multiply that and give you hell. That's just the way it is. So if we're going back to the basic, a man who is not happy in his home has ensured that his home is not happy. It's as simple as that. And then you're saying things like it's not wrong for you to, the maid, it does not, it's not a cup that you can decide to pee into
Thank you
if you
so
don't want
much,
to pee in the
Charles.
toilet. Oh Lord.
your contributions this afternoon has made the rest of my year.
I mean, these are things that we
Okay,
need to-
all right. Yeah, you know, men seem to forget that women, we are mirrors. You know, we reflect whatever
Exactly
you shine
what you're
on.
doing.
It's
That's
as
the truth.
simple as
Yes.
that. Thank you for saying that. Okay, so let's leave the issue of inability to have children. How about peace? Because that is like the number one excuse
That he
for
gave.
a lot of philandering husbands. They said the woman is too quarrelsome, she nags, she blah blah. But the maid is giving you peace.
As
What
though
kind of
it's
peace
get together
are
with
we
your
talking
maid.
about?
Yeah. As
In the
though
first
you
place,
have peace if you're
What
doing
do
your
you
wife and
expect
your
to
maid.
get from somebody you're paying? Like now, patience. Probably when you woke up this morning, you were not feeling like going to work. You have no choice. You have to come to work. It is compulsory for you to be here. That is why you are here. You understand? So that is the maid for you. If you had an auction, you wouldn't come. If that maid had an auction, she won't give you that peace she's giving you. If you doubt me, try it first. Impregnate your maid. You will see this stuff
The other side.
your maid is made of.
Okay.
You will know that maid is not as gentle.
You're shaking your
as
head.
she's working for money.
Okay.
The peace is completely out. Because, like she pointed out of Agar in the Bible, there's no way, there's no respect in that house again. Between the wife, the husband, and the maid. There's no peace. If any man is thinking of peace in that house, it's zero. Because everything boils down to confusion, complete confusion. Because the wife will not take it, the maid will be thinking, at least what
She has
madam
arrived.
cannot produce and producing. The man is now in trouble, big trouble.
You know, back to what Musti said. Actually, there are issues, there are times, there are situations where the family would decide, okay, this girl we have in our home, she's mature. The wife says, okay, let's get together with her, get married to her. These things work. You know why in life there's no black and white. For some families, right, we see it working, and then the maid has children, and then the wife, of course the maid automatically is a wife. Of course. Once she has children for the man. And then, the first wife accepts the children and nurtures, and then there's peace in the home, and, at least as far as we can see. But you see, where I have a problem is when you make things like a blanket rule and say, this is how it's supposed to go. No.
Okay.
You don't
Let's
do
look
stuff
at
like
how
that.
viewers are reacting. Tinu from Otta. Tino from Ota says it is very, very wrong for a married man to impregnate a housemaid. It means the man does not know the promise of God for the family. All right, this other one says, good morning, boss. Thanks for this opportunity to express our grievance. As at now, almost 160 Nigerians are dead and still counting, and our government are requesting for ransom to compensate the deceased family. Okay, let me move on from there to your second message. Says, a building was burnt down while Nigerians were jumping down from skyscrapers and still keep killing them. Many were dragged down from vehicles and set them ablaze. What for? And our government were watching all this online. The blood of the innocent will judge these people. Aisha from Kaduna says it's very sad to see what's happening. Nigerian government should wake up from their sleep, and Nigerians should please come back home. Okay, all right. I cannot read everything that is coming in. Caller Benson, I acknowledge your message. I cannot read it. Kyle from Lagos, thank you for your message. Okay, all right, let's move it along. Please, can we leave the xenophobia thing and move on to other things? And please, when you send in your message, don't use strong languages or abusive words, please. Let's keep it sane. Okay, so from the maid story, let's move to our next topic, which is actually on getting a work experience or acquiring a second degree right after graduation. Now, a young man called Ayo Bankole went online to put this out there, and he actually asked the question, is having work experience better than acquiring a second degree after graduation? Ayo Bankole is a strategy and business transformation expert, and he really wants to know how Nigerians feel about this. So let's wade in. You are an employer of labor. So for you as an employer, what would you really look out for, you know, in hiring someone? A second degree or a work experience?
Okay, now, sorry, excuse me. Let me cut the chase on this. A work experience is equally very important, just as a second degree is equally very important. But let's look at what is really obtainable here in Nigeria. All the people with, I've employed somebody with a second degree who actually didn't perform as I expected. Okay. And I had too much expectations from her.
Because of the second degree?
Because of the second degree.
Okay.
Now, my experience with that made me understand that what is really needed right now in this type of country we find ourselves, for me, is preferably work experience. My wife is a BSc holder, she's also an MSc holder. At the end, there is no such job to really pay off or commensurate with a degree. In Nigeria, we have people with all kinds of degrees who earn less than 100,000 naira. So is that really a situation that helps us in this country? Yes, but I don't discourage anybody going for a second degree. But if you go for all that degrees and you don't have a work experience, you might not get a job in Nigeria. Outside Nigeria, that might work fairly because they appreciate when somebody has furthered more with the education and
is academically that qualified.
They appreciate all that, but here in Nigeria is a bit tricky.
All right, Pastor Dolly, what do you think about
I think one of the reasons why a lot of people want to go for work experience is because even our academic sector, we understand that a lot of things that they need to learn in school, the environment is not there for them to acquire them. I mean, the knowledge they're supposed to acquire in school, the environment is not there for them. The tools are not there for them to acquire it. It's actually when they get on the job that those tools are available for them to work with. And I think in that sense, yes, it is needed. But if we have a society where all those things are there, where all the tools are there for them to acquire the necessary skills that they are acquiring in terms of education, I don't think it will be better for you to have a first degree with experience than second degree. That person took a lot of time too to acquire that knowledge, and it should not be wasted.
Okay, so in this kind of peculiar environment that we're in,
I think
what would
work experience,
work experience,
because we have also seen so many that came out of school and we know that they don't have what it takes
to actually do the job. Okay, all right, Charles.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Pastor Dolly. And I'm going to use my own experience. Shortly after my first degree, I took classes in Houston for about 3 weeks. And as a joke, I tell people the 3 weeks class that I took in Houston was more impactful than the 5 years I spent
in a Nigerian university.
So at the end of the day, education is not, sadly in our country, we focus more on rote memorization. I pour something into you, how well are you able to retain that and give me back exactly what I give to you? But a university education should actually expose you to the realities of what you're studying in the world. So when you school abroad or in other developed countries, your time in school is actually giving you work experience. But however, because of our very society, and like Musti said, lots of people just go to school, get these degrees. Now I have a lot of degrees and certifications, so much, but it doesn't really translate into their ability to deliver on the field because of our peculiar, educational environment. So most people would rather go for work experience.
Having said that, how would you advise a young man or a young lady out there who is still in school perhaps and maybe toying with this idea, should I go for my second degree right after graduation or should I go work a bit?
Now, the two
how would
don't
you advise?
have to be exclusive.
Okay.
Internship, volunteerism.
Okay.
This is something
it's
we're
all
trying
part of
to
work
push.
experience.
Yeah, so that puts you in contact with the realities of your field while you also, make time for further studies.
Okay. All right, Ms. Beecroft.
As an HR person, when you're talking about second degree and experience, like you said, there is a room for the two in our society, but you discover that most of the people going for secondary school now, second degrees nowadays, is just because they're looking for a job and they couldn't find job. Now they thought, instead of sitting down at home, let me go for the second degree, maybe after that I will get
Something
a job.
better will come.
But the experience we are talking about, you see some master degree holder that you have first degree that can do better than them on the field. They are separate entity when you want to look at it. One is not dropped for the other one.
Okay.
Not exclusive,
It's, you look at the two together.
Okay.
And sorry, patience. I just want to say, young Nigerians should understand that the bottom line is really not money. Because a lot of the decisions that young people take is boiling down to money. If you understand that money is not my ultimate goal, but how I'm able to add value to the systems or the people or the places that I happen to be around, you will take up opportunities, not because of the money that will come, but for the privilege it will give you to grow as an individual, as a professional, and as a human being.
Okay.
So,
right. Okay, this one coming in from Chukuma Gentle from Ayobo says, good day everyone. The primary purpose of marriage is childbearing. So when there is no child, problem comes in, especially when the fault is from the woman. I think if the man decides to impregnate his maid, let him first discuss it with his wife. That is Chukuma's take on this issue. All right, this other one, Bankole is saying, second degree is always placed ahead of work experience. Please take note. Okay, this other one say, as far as Nigeria is concerned, work experience is the reigning thing. In fact, excuse me, most people go for second degree because job no day. Exactly what you said. Israel from Kaduna, thank you for sending that one in. All right, this one says, is it compulsory to hold a second degree? The question.
Of course, it's not.
It's a personal decision. You see, higher education is strictly your decision. Do you want to have it? There's no rules. But sadly, you know, like we all know, most times you see some job openings and then they tell you if you have a second degree, it puts you at an advantage.
Gives you an
right?
edge.
So you're just between the devil and the deep blue sea. But like she said, there's no one that is exclusive. We have like the Open University now. We have lots of courses online. You know, you don't have to be to make
in
it
the four walls of
exclusive.
a classroom. Okay. All right. Let's quickly move it along to our last topic for today. President Donald Trump cancels automatic citizenship for children of U.S. citizens born abroad and children of non-citizens born in the U.S. This is a new policy alert released by the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services under, of course, Trump's administration. Quickly, 20 seconds each. Let's wade into this.
All right, now, for me, I don't think that there's any problem with that. I mean, he is the president of his country, and of course, he would definitely make policies that affect them positively.
Okay.
But of course, some of us won't take it as a positive policy because of, I mean, when I had my first child, my wife was almost cutting my neck off for us to have a child in the US, but it didn't happen. But for me, but now if he's saying that even for US citizens who give birth outside the country, their children won't have automatic citizenship. I mean, for me, that's a bit. It's a bit tough. And he's even saying even government officials who are serving outside the country and give birth.
I think we don't have the full picture.
No. I saw that news. I read it.
No.
Yes,
there's a clause.
Okay.
Right. It's not like it will never happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. For non-citizens that travel to the US to give birth.
Okay.
Right. Usually, once you have your baby, the
US.
baby automatically becomes
a citizen. Yes.
Now you have to spend at
wait
least 6 weeks.
Yes.
So that's the clause. It's not because the Constitution of
Okay,
America.
let me just give the right information out there. Thank you for pointing that out. Anyways, this new policy will be effective from the 29th of October. Okay. Now, for U.S. citizens who give birth to their children abroad, that's outside of the United States, you are expected to apply for U.S. citizenship ahead of the child's 18th birthday.
Yeah.
Now, if you are a non-citizen and you want to go give birth in the U.S., you have to stay at least 6 weeks in the U.S. before the children born in that country will be considered citizens. I think that's fair. If you ask
I also want to say that, like, a lot of people are getting mad with Donald Trump. He's saying this, he's doing that, he's not doing that. Now, Donald Trump is saying America first. His policies are what
Pastor Dali and I are Republicans. So we actually support a lot of the policies of So it's hard for me to see. Usually when I see even Nigerians who are not really Americans, I get to upset.
Look, like what I can say is that if you are saying that Trump is making policies in America, it's not favoring you, come back home.
Right.
Because what Trump is doing is that he's insulting Africa, is doing that. He's giving Africans the blueprint to work on, to develop their country, to develop their continent.
Yeah.
My people say if you tell somebody, if you use somebody's poverty to laugh at the person, you're actually giving the person the strength,
the tools to rise up
and be worthy.
Look, Pastor Dolly and I are Republicans.
That's what he's doing to
my mom was a Democrat, so there was always war at home. My dad is Republican as well.
Okay, but on this new policy, I think a lot of us are in agreement.
Very well.
This works well.
You know, the guy, all the policies he's making, whether you like it or not, he's building his country. The economy is growing in his time.
Build our own.
That is his.
And
so we should build our own. Instead of being mad with him, we should be mad with our oppressors.
A lot of Nigerians commit a lot of insurance fraud when it comes to giving birth. So they come to the US, or rather they go to the USA, pay an advance of $5,000, have the baby, and then off they go. You understand? So there's so much. You see, it's not enough for us to just flay our feathers like angry chickens. We have to look deep into the situation and know what is giving rise to this.
And then again, if you've decided to go have a child in the US, I mean, I don't see a big deal in staying six weeks.
Yeah, right.
6 weeks is fair.
And besides, before now, I think it's part of the Constitution, any American born outside America, there are certain offices you can't contest for, like the presidency. You can't contest in
just
the
because you're born outside.
Yeah, so these laws are just
all right, let's look quickly at how our viewers are still reacting. Time is almost up. Rotimi from Ibadan says there's not going to be peace in that house, and also the man should be hanged.
Oh Lord.
Isn't that too harsh? Rotimi. Okay. Ola
I think he
from
meant
Lagos.
the counselor.
Oh yeah, the counselor.
Yes,
Ola
ma'am.
from Lagos says, good afternoon, patients. The pastor's head. Sorry, he's not a pastor, he's a counselor. The counselor's head should be well examined. How about what a counselor? Okay. All right, this one is reacting to the second degree versus story and says, what about godfatherism before getting a job, even with first degree or second degree?
It's a sad reality
from
in
Kaduna
our country.
is a Nigerian reality. Okay. Let me read one more. Number one, rather get a okay, this one is giving options. He said, one, rather get a concubine than to reduce my personality before my maid.
Okay.
That's to the first story.
Okay.
So the second one, don't forget most of these degrees are bought, so you know them when you offer them their
Jobs, yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Okay, so for him, work experience is best. And number three, as for Trump, kudos.
Yeah.
On that note, I'd like to say thank you everybody for coming out. It's been an awesome
Thank you
show.
for having us.
Mr. Mustafa Iwinla, thank
for
you so
having
much.
us.
Pastor Dolly. Thank you,
Patience.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Patience.
And thank you, Ms. Baycroft, for coming out. Thank you, viewers. It's been wonderful. All right, let's continue to maintain peace and order, and I'm sure the government will do something about the killings in South Africa and other parts of the world, really, and Nigerians also. Let's always be security conscious, okay? Stay safe anywhere you are, okay? And keep yourself out of trouble. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, on another edition of The Buzz. I leave you with Damiji. Have yourself a beautiful afternoon.